Good afternoon. We are the team Ganadera Castaños. We are confirmed by Aldo Ortiz Reyes, Sebastián Sánchez Castaños, Indira Miranda Perez, and Oscar Villegas Moreno. This is our integrative project, and this is our title. Live cattle export plant to Alice, Texas, and the import of corn, milk, and yellow corn. Now, I'm going to be a little bit quick because we don't have a lot of time. So first, with the company description, here are the general data of the company and the product identification data. We have the name of the company, Ganadera Castaños, our address, phone number, RFC, and our email. Now, the company is dedicated to the production of the bovine cattle, specified in the race of the Charolais cow, who has a size of 138 centimeters to 143 centimeters. The weight goes from 250 kilograms up to 380 kilograms. As a little bit of information, the company belongs to the primary sector. This is because it's the sector in the economy who includes the use of agricultural, livestock, fishing, forestry, and etc. natural resources. Now, as a little bit of background, the company or the company was made by Jose Guadalupe Castaños Maldonado, who is the grandfather of the actual owner. Now, the ranch has existed since the times of Pancho Villa. Now we are talking about the Mexican Revolution, and the object and the primary object of the company was to buy and sell livestock to make them fodder, produce meat of quality, excellent quality, and with this export the livestock to the United States and more specified to the state of Texas. Now, the products description. Now we're going to tell you about the import and export products. First, we have the product to export. Its scientific name is the Bostaurus taurus. As I already told you, the Charolais calf. And here is the tariff fraction, 01, 02, 29, 99 in the others. The non-tariff restrictions are regulations that has the cattle for the export. It's the T8 about Semarnat and the T9 also the verification record from Semarnat. Benefits. Which are the benefits? Well, the calves provide multiple benefits where we can find that they are destined for the meat use. The calf offal is used as feed for other animals. The bovine feces are used for the energy production. This is because the fermentation process produces the methane gas. This gas is used for the power electric energy generating plants that move. And finally, the fetal bovine serum that is used in the cell line studies. This is the production of monoclonal antibodies used in laboratory tests. Now, we're going to pass to the product to import. First, we're going to say about the machine. The corn mill. So here is the technical data sheet. It's a kind of buried the image, but at the document, you can find all the information. Now I'm going to tell you some information about this. The definition, well, is a machine that its same name tells you. It's a milk carn that it's used for the feeding of the cattle. Finally, here we have the fraction, the tariff fraction, that is the 84.04.2099 with the NICO 04, that it's trituradores de martillos, de percusión, or de choque. Now, which are the benefits for the company? It's only one benefit, the simple as it is, that it helps for the reduce the production times by speeding up the milling of the corn for the cattle feed. Instead of being manual, the mill is just automatized with this machine, and it increments or decreases, better said, the times for the production of the feed of the animal. Now we're going to the tariff fraction of the supply to import, that is yellow corn. It is the 1005 90 99 with the NICO 02, that is the yellow corn or maíz amarillo. It has only two tariff restrictions and regulations for the import, that are the C1 and the A1, that is the phytosanitary certificate, gave it by SADR. Now, benefits of the corn. As we already said, well, the basically benefit of it is that it has different properties than the white corn, and this increases the fatting of the animal. That's the only like benefit for the company, that increases the fatting of the animal. This reduces the cost and reduces the time of speeding. Now, market description. As I already told you, we selected the country United States, more specified into Texas. Why? Because as you already know, Texas is one of the states and the places of most consumed around the world about when we talk about meat. And therefore, the demand for the bovine cattle, which is the main source of the meat consumed, is in excess of the country's production. That's why they need to import from different countries. Now, the target market, as already told you, our target market is basically the restaurants or the providers of the meat of the restaurants that I will tell you more further, our final client. And there are some three strategies for attracting more customers. Here is the marketing, other breeds, quantity of attractive public attention, define new market segments to find new customers, expanding to different geographic areas, and finally, develop strategic alliances to enter to new markets. Now, as I already told you, this is our final client, the Gulf Cod Livestock and Auction LLC. This is an enterprise in Alice, Texas, and they are dedicated to provide a meat for the different restaurants there. Now, the next thing is the export transport method, the container, the loading equipment, and the download equipment, and the estimated times. Now, here is the selected transport and the export cost. As you can see, well, it will be by land. Why? With the company Juan Alday. Why? Because they have worked with the company Ganadera Castaños since the inception. The cost of it will be about 30,000 Mexican pesos, and the local livestock association of Durango offers an insurance of 60 pesos for each head of the cattle. In this case, we're going to export 120 head will be exported cattle. Yeah, so it will be a total of 7,200 Mexican pesos. Here I'm going to include the route and the estimated time. We have the estimated travel time from Nuevo Ideal, sorry, that is where the company it is, from to Nuevo Laredo, Texas, that it's where the final client is. It's approximately of 9 hours. It's not that much. And the distance traveled from Nuevo Ideal, Durango to the international Juarez Lincoln Bridge, where is the customs, it will be about 755 kilometers. Now, the container. The average weight of the calves is about 220 and 70 kilograms. So the number of the calves to be exported is about 120. Therefore, the total average weight of the calves is 32,400 kilograms that are the equivalent of 32.4 tons. In the export, the cattle cage that it's supposed to support to 12 tons. So we are going to require 3 cattle cages to transport the 120 head of cattle. Now, the equipment used for the loading and the downloading here, as a part of the unloading and loading equipment, there is no like a machine as such as other products. Very simple that it's a cage ramp leading from the pens to the transport cage at the loading and loading points, which are generally already in the exit of the pens.
Hi there. Prior recognition to customs clearance. What is this? What is happening? What documentation is needed? And what are the scenarios that can play out are one of the things that we're going to see within this topic. So in order to totally understand it, this is what I've come up with in my mind. I don't know if this actually seems a little bit more simple. We have a clearance, right? You have goods, you must be cleared at the customs. And what has to be done prior to that recognition? What is priorly done from that recognition in order to have the customs clearance? So that's what we're going to see. What's happening is that the inspection of goods, it's taking place by the authorities, and These goods must coexist with the proper documentation that is being presented at the moment of the customs clearance, right? So this is actually everything that's printed out. Two main things: the inspection of goods and the analysis of those documents that are with those goods in order, and they have to be linked with each other. So what are the documentations what is the documentation required? We have an invoice, an online digital tax receipt, a commission conferred, a DOTA in Spanish, postage bill, and an orange certificate. We're going to analyze these a little bit further. As you can see here, this is actually a map of the customs clearance procedure, right? Everything that is actually taking place at that moment. You can see it's a very extensive. It has many different scenarios, many things can play out, and there is many different things for each goods, which is actually very, I mean, it's immensely extensive. So in this case, we are talking about cattle. We are exporting cattle, livestock, and we are importing a corn mill and the supply of corn, right? So this is the online digital tax receipt. This is a very particular document because you can see the QR code. It's a digital document, and it has, for example, the tariff classification of the product. It may be different from the one that, for example, the unit of the way the actual seller is promoting the goods, right? So that's a very that's a particularity of this document, and it has a QR code. This is the invoice, one of the most important documents for any goods, because the contributions are stated here, the contributions that are supposed to be paid out for this good, the customs value, the merchandise that is being sent out, where it's being sent out from, what type of regime it's actually going through, and for example, the dates of that merchandise and that process that's actually being done. Now, as to the commission conferred, this is a fiscal document. You can see right away it's a fiscal document. The DOTA, also with the QR code, this is presented immediately on the customs clearance. Very important and new document. The postage bill. No, this is the postage bill, and it's stated in the name. Where is it coming from? Who's sending it? Where's it going to? Who is receiving it, right? All that information from the postage side of the bill. And we have the certificate of origin, or the origin certificate. This is obviously very important to actually benefit from the agreement that Mexico and United States have. And as you can see, here's the certificate of origin for the cattle. And we have much more documentation, right? We have the receipt. This is another postage bill, maybe for the corn mill or for the corn itself. Another invoice. This is the part of the importation process, right? So all of these, it's the same repeated documents, but these are the documents that we actually need in order to have the clearance at the customs, right? In order for the dispatch. Now, in regards to back to the presentation, you can see here the different scenarios that are playing out. Here, I simplified it into 4 different scenarios. There's many more, but these are the main ones for me. The customs dispatch is approved, right? It's everything is copacetic. The documents linked to the goods are all they coexist, and they're all actually good, and the customs dispatch is approved, and therefore no problems in the recognition. Now, second scenario, custom dispatch requires validation for any random reason, any situation that is presented with the supervisor, or some minor validation is required, or maybe something has to do specific with the goods, maybe a particularity with the goods, right? The third one, the dispatch, the customs dispatch detects irregularities. So this is when there is something wrong with the documentation or there is something wrong with the goods. Therefore, the irregularity must be fined and you must pay the ticket or the fine. These are minor irregularities. They could be very big irregularities, right? And require a big fine and a big quantity of money because of that irregularity. And this is the difference between the customs dispatch seizes the goods, right? So the irregularity could be paid, right? But there's going to be clearance once those irregularities are actually fixed or paid for. And over here, the last one, there's something completely wrong with the goods, so therefore they are seized. Or there is something completely wrong with the documentation being presented for those goods. The prior acts for those or for the recognition of the customs clearance is the payment of contributions and or trade taxes, depending on the goods. The e-document, the importer, agent, or customs representative makes this payment of contributions, right? And therefore, the deposit, the fiscal deposit is done there with the invoice or with the e-document at the fiscal deposit by the importer, in our case, with the cattle and livestock, right? Now, the invoice and the invoice estimate, right? The import and export invoice. So as you saw before this slide, the documentation that is needed, the invoice, how is it for the exportation of the cattle and for the importation of the corn supply and corn mill machinery? How did we come up with this? Well, we are aware of the calculation of the contributions that must be made out, right? The DTA, which is the customs paperwork rights, the tax, the government tax that is actually paid here in Mexico, and the pre-validation and pre-validation tax, right? There's a pre-validation contribution that we must paid, and there's a pre-validation tax, right? So there's two that come at the same time.
Now I'm going to explain you the customs warehousing. Well, for the exportation, well, for a product, the customs warehouse is not applicable since there is no storage because the calves are unloaded at the border customs and they are subjected to a quarantine station to be supervised by authorized veterinarians that guarantee and verify that the calves do not have any irregularity. And well, for importations, also the goods to be imported will not require the customs storage because they are going to be imported in the same day. And we have the physical examination, the verifiers, examiners, and the DODA. Well, the physical examination for the exportation, in this step, the calves are separated into different pens according to their weight and size. Then the Senacica carries out the visual inspection of the every calf in the pen, and also the American customs inspects the cattle to see that they are in good shape and that they don't have any illness. Then, well, if the American customs personnel considers that the cattle achieve the sanitary requirements, well, they carry out the weighing in the presence of the buyer. Now we have the verifiers, examiners step that we are going to focus on the gamma customs recognition. Well, first, the transport operator needs to deliver the customs documents to the module operator. which verifies that the documentation coincide between all the documents. Then he passed to scans the barcode that it's printed on the documents, and it gives him all the, well, like other information of the documents, and he needs to see if it fits between the one that he has in the code and the one that he has on the documents. And if he reports an irregularity, well, he needs to call to a supervisor and went back to the fourth step, that is the operator verifies the documentation. But if the information it's okay, the operator activates the automated selection mechanism, which determines whether custom recognition should be performed. And well, this one could be free customs or RNI, which means non-intrusive review, and or the gamma custom recognition, which in this case we're going to talk about. Well, in the gamma customs recognition, first the module operator instructs the transport operator to enter into the gamma array lane. Then the module operator records the customs document number, operation, and modulation time in the government book. The next step is the transport operator shows up in the gamma array lane. And the last step is the gamma array review process continues at the border customs imports. And well, to finish, the result it's the customs recognition, in which the module operator indicates the platform number in which the recognition will be carried out, and he registers in the government book the number of the customs document, the operation, name of the verifier, and the modulation time. Also, the transport operator appears on the platform of the indicated import platform. And to finish, the custom recognitions process for importation at the border continue. Then we have the DODA, that in Spanish is Documento de Operación para Despacho Aduanero, which it's a format that have two-dimensional QR barcode, and will replace the traditional, and that replace the traditional customs request, as well as the document list format, with the aim of making the operation more agile. And in the future, well, they want to enable less, well, paperless dispatch. Next, we have the recognition, general standards, documentary review, sampling incidents, and etc. Well, the recognition that we are going to see it's when it is a red light. We could say that. Well, the first step is that the transmigrant places the vehicle in the gamma ray, as we see. Well, we saw what was the gamma ray, and well, the next step is that the transmigrant goes to the gamma ray review. The operator analyzes the gamma ray image. Then, well, if the gamma ray operator detects an irregularity, it gives the notice to the platform, the platform manager of the irregularity he detected. Then the gamma ray operator performs the informational part, which is sent to the verifier. The next step is that the gamma ray operator instructs the vehicle to go to the non-intrusive review area, and the transmigrant, well, the vehicle, and go to the non-intrusive review area, and well, he placed the vehicle in the non-intrusive review lane. The he start the non-intrusive review, and well, the verifier reviews that the non-intrusive review image and attends to the result. Then the verifier displays in the systems the number of the customs document that it's subject to customs recognition, and performs the customs document review. The verifier go and inspect the merchandise, and if the verifier detect any irregularity, it proceeds to drawn up the corresponding act that could be that it's in some cases it's a PAMA, or act of administrative procedure in custom matters. Well, and if the incident does not warrant the retention of the merchandise, and the verifier certifies and releases the customs document and the means of transport. And well, the last topic for me, it's the PAMA. Well, the PAMA is the name given to the set of acts provided for in the law, linked in succession, and that has the purpose of issuing and conviction or acquittal, derived from the incidents detected by the customs authority in the exercise of its powers of verification in exterior trade operations.
Okay, as to the merchandise verification and transport, we have many points, but I'm going to explain it as fast as I can. The cargo verification, it's inside the transport itself, commercial invoice and documentation, the cattle custody and unloading and loading of the cattle, and some COVID protocols. However, given the fact that it's cattle, it's handled in a more different way than any other good, and it would actually be in the custody of the customs during its inspection, thorough inspection, right? And this for other merchandise, it involves sampling, visual verification of quality, inspections of damages or anything like that in this regard.
Now, we're moving to the export process. Here we are going to present you our final logistic process in a flow chart. Here it is. Now, where we start? We started with the packaging of the merchandise that it's ready for the sale. That we're going to talk about the export now. It proceeds to be reviewed, the licenses, the authorizations, and other formalities according to the merchandise. We move to the loading of the merchandise to the truck. We are talking about the container in with the factory or the warehouse. Now, according to the transport that will be used for its transfer at the original to a terminal carrier. Then we move to the review of physical merchandise according to its documentation, let me move here to done. Okay. Then we move to the heading cost at the original terminal. Here we have the logistic route. It travels the route from the point of origin, that is Rodeo Durango, to the point of the destination, that is Santa Teresa, Nuevo Mexico. Here, there it ends the responsibility of the seller, that is the exporter, upon reaching the selected customs. Now, the next thing is that it proceeds to the review of documentation and physical merchandises. Then the handling cost at the destination terminal according to the type of product. The merchandise is loaded in the selected transport within the destination to the terminal, logistic operations, factory, or warehouse, the reception and discharge of the merchandise in accordance with agreement with the buyer. And that is our logistic process for the exportation.
And finally, at the end of this integrative project, we must clarify a conclusion and almost like a thank you, right, for all of the teachers and the support of the school and of the teachers, because we all know that we've been living in a very difficult and very particular time. The process of the whole integrative project was excruciating. It was extremely difficult. I think each individual team had their own difficulties of some kind. We now have a world view of the exporting and importing process. I mean, specifically for the Mexican side, but it also gives us a world view of things, particularities that we had with the cattle and the supply that we actually selected and the machinery, because it's a very big machine. Livestock procedures for exporting, we completely dominate them, and the supply of the machinery in the importing process. Thank you so much to the teachers and universities.